What's up everyone, welcome to your 38th C++ tutorial in my series of C++ tutorials. Well, if something, a Camtasia Studio things pops up in the middle of the tutorial, well, don't take notice of it. It's just because that the tutorial I just made is finished processing. So well, that's why then. And I'm kinda, sick of this old classes.cpp files, so we're going to delete pretty much everything that's in it. So clean up your engine, only have the pause statement. Also erase this and the error method, and well, this one too. These int x variables right here, we don't need them. Now we're just going to do something called the default constructor, and the default constructor is a constructor that has no arguments at all. So we're going to create that constructor, and we're just going to say rectangle, and then there you have it. That's the default constructor, and it is just going to print out hello, I'm a default constructor. And well, now we're going to create an instance of that class, of that constructor. So we're going to initialize the rectangle class to a rect object. And we did that before, so there's nothing to freak out if I use some words you don't know. So you just type rectangle, because that's the name of the class we're going to create an initialization of, and the object's going to be called rect. And remember, declare this rect as declare this rect object as a pointer, and it is going to be equal to a new rectangle. Okay, so well, what we're saying is that we show C++ that this is a rectangle object by putting rectangle as the data type, and then we're showing it that is a pointer, so it is a rectangle pointer called rect, and it is pointing at one new rectangle. And this this right here will call the rectangle default constructor. So we're pointing at one new rectangle, and that rectangle will call the default constructor. So see what I mean? Hit F9. And as you see, it says hello, I'm a default constructor. And again, that's because that we have a rectangle pointer called rect, and it is pointing at a new rectangle. And the rectangle is and this rectangle thing, if you have a constructor, then when you call this, it'll call the constructor. If it is a constructor with no arguments, which is also a default constructor, so if your class has a default constructor, then each time you make an object, the default constructor will be called. So we're making one new rectangle object, and it has to be a pointer, so it can point at one new rectangle object. But also we can create many objects like this, changing the these brackets, these parameters with square brackets, and I've typed something like 10 in here. Then we have a rectangle pointer called rect, which is pointing at 10 new rectangles. So if you hit F9 right now, you'll see that it says hello, I'm a default constructor 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I don't want to count them because Camtasia Studio makes your mouse flashing, so well, I'm not going to waste time on that. So we're just going to assume, and I'm pretty sure that there's exactly 10 rectangles in here. So it'll call Well, if you remove this constructor right here, well, we're not going to remove it, we're just going to quote it out like this. So now, you know, the compiler will ignore this. So now, if you hit F9 right now, you see that it says nothing, but still you have 10 new rectangle objects. But you know, when you have a default constructor, then each time a new object is called, then it is going to call the constructor each time the object is created. And as you see, we're creating 10 new rectangles right here, and that's why it generates, or you know, calls the default constructor 10 times. So that is just that I wanted to show you, that you can create an instance, and this is what we call an instance of a class using the new keyword. And you can also create many of them by declaring it as an array with two of these square brackets, and then the number of elements you type is the number of times it is going to call the default constructor if it has one. And remember, a default constructor is a constructor with no arguments at all. So well, that was your 38th tutorial on in C++. So I'll see you in my next tutorial.